Hi everybody, this is Austin. Hi Bond fans, this is Austin Dozo fan. I'm here to show you off my James Bond Blu Ray collection and Ultimate Edition DVD collection. So let's get started. Now this right here is the attachment case. No, this is not a real product. This is actually a family product. No, I got this briefcase back in 2017, 2 years ago, just to put my Bond Blu Ray collection in. And that's what I want to do. This one's actually inspired by the 2006 version that came out when Casino Royale was coming out, and then it was, and 2 years later, Solace came out on DVD. So I decided to make my own version. So I'll show you the films. Now, the cover art is actually not real. This is actually fan-made. I printed out the internet and I put those in my empty Blu-ray cover to make my own version of the Blu-ray set. So, show you guys the films. Oh, hold on. And this right here is my own pamphlet of the James Bond Blu Ray collections from Bond films. Collection from Dr. No to Spectre, and there's the films, the Casino Royale spoof, and there's a narrative, a remake of Thunderball. And it says a bonus disc, which is the Ultimate James Bond Collection Blu-rays that I got back in 2015 when Spectre was coming out. And hopefully I'll get some, if there's space in there for this briefcase, I'll get, the next Bond film should be out in April 2020, or 2020, which will be directed by Cary Fukunaga and starring Daniel Craig, Rami Malek, and yes, Rami Malek's playing a Bond film. Anyway, so, and Jeremy Wright's coming back as Felix Slider, and okay, so let's get on with the film. Hold on a second. Alright, so the first one that started it all is Dr. No. Well, this came out in 1962 as a Bond film that began the franchise by producers Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Cubby Broccoli. And it's a very, very good start to the Bond films. And Sean Connery has a great sense of wit and humor. And Ursula Andress' merger with the water is one of the best parts of the film. And one of the most iconic parts of the film, and Joseph Wiseman is pretty good as Dr. No, and yeah, and originally they, okay, I'll get to that film a little bit later. So I'll show you guys the disc. You guys see it? Good. Here it is. All right, second film, For Russia with Love. The second Bond film in 1963, which was another good Bond film, which this became the first Bond film to start up with the pre-credits sequence and to have Bond killed, which have Bond killed off in the pre-credits sequence, which this wouldn't be the first time he would be killed off, but he would be killed off again in twice the pre-credits and Skyfall, of course. So anyway, this film is very good. It reveals Blofeld and oh yeah, I almost forgot. Dr. No also revealed Blofeld. No, sorry, Spectre. Sorry. And anyway, yeah, this film's got Pedro Armendáriz, and this one marks the first appearance of Desmond Llewellyn, who would go on to a major Booth role, but later would become Q in the next film. And yeah, and the opening credits was not designed by Maurice Bennett, but it was designed by Robert Brownjohn, who would later do the next film, which I'll get to a little bit more. There's the disc. And yeah, so that's with love. Alright, Bond number 3. Third one is Goldfinger. He's a man. The Midas touch. I do it. Yeah, highlight that. So, okay, I'm not gonna lie, but you guys want to sing something? Anyway, the Goldfinger is the ultimate 007 film that many fans really adore. It's one of the best Bond movies ever. Alright, okay, so there's a lot of good things about Goldfinger. Is the naked lady, Joe Masterson covered in gold paint, the best part. And on top of the hat with that statue, which I love this person. And the lady's name was, "You expect me to talk?" And Goldfinger's like, "No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die." And I also love the opening song by Shirley Bassey, which you may have heard me saying a little bit a few seconds ago. Can't just help it. It's one of my favorite songs. And the opening credits is actually the famous. And the big star of the show, the big star of the film is Go On, the only. The DB5. It became the most famous car in the world when this film was being made and promoted. And this right here is my Aston Martin DB5 toy I got at Christmas 2015, which is the Skyfall version, which was using the Climax neck film. Really good film. I'll put that up. I'll show you this. Yep. That's Goldfinger. Number 4 is Thunderball, which came out in 1965. And this fun fact was originally slated to be the third or first Bond film, but because of legal issues going on, they decided, or something like that, they decided to make this the fourth Bond film. As one, as people call it one of the best Bond films. I didn't show you the bag of smoke on Tennessee. Spine, and yeah, and like I said, this one's actually a fan-made cover art that a guy from Pinterest did, and he did an impressive job. And this one was made for the 50th anniversary, which it could have been. No, okay, I'm not good. This, okay, cover, spine, that cover. Sorry about the blurring. There's spine. There's the back cover. Yeah, and the plot, by the way, for this film is pretty good. It's not quite groundbreaking as some other Bond films were. But Emilio Largo is okay. Emilio Largo is an okay villain. It's not quite as interesting in my opinion. And this became the first Bond film in the widescreen adaptation, which they would do in future Bond films, except for Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, which I'm going to get to later. And I really like the opening song by Tom Jones. "What's new, pussycat?" That's the song. Yeah, wait. That's Thunderball. Alright, here we go, it's Thunderball. Alright, now on to the unofficial film, which is the Casino Royale spoof from 1967, which has Peter Sellers, Ursula Andress from Dr. No, David Niven, Woody Allen, Orson Welles, Daniel Levy, and many, many others. And there were 6 directors in this film. Spine. And David Niven was Ian Fleming's first choice to play Bond when Dr. No was being made. It was about to be made. But the decision went to say, hey, let's get Sean Connery to do it. So it was only played by Sean Connery. But no, not this film, but Dr. No. Anyway, it's the back. It's Peter Sellers. Yeah, so you may remember him from The Pink Panther and other movies. But I'm not gonna lie, this version of Casino Royale was so cheesy and so uninspiring. This one is not the funniest, not the greatest Bond spoof ever, in my opinion. Yeah, and I know how many fans feel about this film too. Just a disc. Oh, sorry. Just a disc from the Blu Ray Collector Edition. Alright. Yeah, it's not as good as this one. But anyway, Bond number 5, You Only Live Twice. And that was the first Bond film this was the first Bond film that got me into James Bond when I was a young kid. And I would watch it so many times, and it was such a good film. And what I like most about this film is the Little Nelly gyrocopter and Blofeld's volcano air. It's just insane. It's one of the best parts in the film. And I really love the opening song by Nancy Sinatra, who thought that originally Julie Rogers was going to sing a title song for this film, but John Barry said no. So they decided to go with Nancy Sinatra, and she recalled saying that she was terrified of recording the song when she was doing it. Okay, cover, spine. the back. And yeah, during filming of this film, Sean Connery was bored, and he had a little friction between Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, I believe. And these two had distaste for each other. Harry Saltzman and Connery had distaste for each other. So this was originally going to be Sean Connery's swan song as James Bond, which I'll get to in a little bit after the next one. Anyway, front. Okay, here's the disc. So that's the only disc. Then we're moving on to, next we got On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This was the one and only James Bond film starring George Lazenby as James Bond. And this year will mark 50 years since George Lazenby's acting debut and this film. And I will say that this film is actually not bad. It's actually very good. But the only problem most of us Bond fans have is, well, George Lazenby, of course. I mean, George Lazenby tried his very best to becoming the character, to becoming Bond, but he just kind of didn't pull up. But Telly Savalas, who plays Blofeld, is very, very good. And Irma Bunt. Yeah. And then, well, unfortunately, in the same year that this film came out, the woman who played Irma Bunt passed away when the film premiered. And Bond's wife dying, Bond's wife being killed in the very end was very heartbreaking and sad. It's probably one of the most emotional scenes in this film. Okay, so, yeah, and I love, and Lazenby did a great job in the ending part too. Anyway, cover, spine, back cover. And by the way, Diana Rigg was very good as Teresa DeVincenzo, and that's what it is. And the pre-credits is not bad, but I don't like that this never happened to the other fella part. Ugh, just mind-boggling. Anyway, disc. Here we go. So it's On Her Majesty's Secret. And Sean Connery's last Bond film. Okay, no, sorry. And Sean Connery ultimately returned in 1971's Diamonds Are Forever. And it's an okay movie, but I'm not gonna lie, but this film could have been a sequel to the previous film. But now, by the way, I didn't mention when On Her Majesty's Secret Service came out, George Lazenby was originally signed to do 7 Bond films, which Roger Moore ultimately would do. So that's what happened, and now actually Lazenby decided no more. That his film agent, quite possibly one of the worst film agents that he did, decided that Bond would die down in the 70s, but many will on. And so ultimately, originally for this film, John Gavin was going to play Bond in this film, but because of United Artists bringing back Sean Connery for a big, huge, record-breaking song, which I couldn't really was, John Gavin departed. So having an American actor playing Bond would have been a disaster, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Anyway, Diamonds Are Forever is okay. It's a pretty decent Bond film that some people like or don't like. But okay, but the opening credits is a little bit tacky because people felt like it was a follow-up to Yellow Twice. And the villain, Blofeld's played by Charles Gray, who you recognize him in, I think it's that Funhouse horror movie. I couldn't remember what the name of that film was called. Can't remember what it was called. I might check it out. And by the way, Charles Gray also appeared in Yellow Twice with Sean Connery before this film. So yeah, and okay, so and they have Willard White played by Jimmy Dean, the guy who, the guy who was in Country Songs, was the guy who made Breakfast and stuff, Okay, anyway, so, and Shirley Bassey came out to do the title song. The film was directed by Guy Hamilton, who previously directed Goldfinger. And yeah, so the film is not as groundbreaking as the other films. So that's all I gotta say. Spine, just the back. That's it. There's Diamonds Are Forever. Alright, on to the first Bond film with Roger Moore. And rest in peace, Roger Moore. You were the best Bond, the funniest one. Anyway, his first Bond film is Live and Let Die. It came out in 1973, and And people call this one the first Bond film. And interesting. Sorry. Anyway, there's a bit of an interesting fact that this was Daniel Craig's first Bond film he saw as a kid, and later Skyfall directed, and this was also Sam Mendes' first Bond film, who would direct Skyfall later on in 2012, which I'll get to that later on in a little bit. And I'm going to say that this film is actually a good start for Roger Moore. And excuse me. And this anyway. And Cordavaco is great as the villain. Jeffrey Holder's name is Baron Samedi in this film. And Gene Seymour is just gorgeous as Solitaire in this film. And I really love the opening song by Paul McCartney, who you may remember as the member for Beatles. Oh yeah, and Paul McCartney is now known for this song. He also worked with Wings to do the title song too. And this film, the score was done by George Martin, who was the producer of the Beatles, and Tom Mankiewicz, who screenwrote Diamond River, was the sole screenwriter for this film. And this one's the first not to have Q in this movie, because it doesn't really have other stuff going on. So yeah, Live and Let Die is a really good start. Like I said, it's a good start to Roger Moore. It's actually kind of a little silly, but I really love the boat chase in the film, and Sheridan W. Hubbard's a really funny and crazy character in this film, in my opinion. Alright, so anyway, Spine. There's Roger Moore. There it is. It's a good shot. Alright, so disc. Let's Live and Let Die. We're on to a year later came 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun. Now this was Roger Moore's second James Bond film, and a lot of people, some people like it, some people didn't. And this was the final Bond film for producer Harry Sullivan because of some financial troubles he had at that time being when this film was released. Now there are some negatives I have to say about this film. The film kind of feels a little, I don't know what to say, but I mean the barrel roll, the corkscrew roll right here, which you recognize, was great, but the only issue is the slide whistle. Ugh, yes, the slide whistle, I don't know. Just the most annoying part of the film. And Sheridan W. Pepper came back in this film too, and Desmond Llewellyn appears in this film, and Maud Adams right here is great as, she would appear in later in future Bond film Octopussy in 1983, and she may have appeared in View to a Kill as well. But oh yeah, Mary Goodnight. She's all right, but she can be a bit annoying at times. No offense to people who like her. And by the way, she was featured to Peter Sellers as well back then before she was became a Bond girl. And Christopher Lee as Scaramanga is the scene stealer of the film, and Hervé Villechaize as Nick Nag is another scene stealer. He's just funny. And he goes, I get you. He goes, ha ha ha, I found you. I love that line. Anyway, Spine. It's Roger Moore. Oh, this right here is a really good shot. Christopher Lee and Roger Moore. And this was the final Bond film for Guy Hamilton as well. And disc, and that's Man with the Golden Gun. Where did I? Here we go. Alright, next up, 1977's biggest, best Bond and beyond is The Spy Who Loved Me. And I love this movie. It's one of the best Bond films. Hold on a second. I need to charge my phone a bit. Wait, hold on. Wait, it is a magnificent Bond film. that Roger Moore did. But the guy who directed this film is the guy who previously directed. Who previously directed YOLO twice, and the scene stealer of the show is Jaws, one of the most famous henchmen in the film. And originally found that this film was supposed to bring back Spectre and Blofeld. However, that didn't happen because of Kevin McClory announced that he would do a rival Bond, which we're gonna get to later. Yeah, you're gonna hear me ramble about. You're gonna hear me kind of rant about this film. So anyway, the best part of the film is the ski chase sequence, and the funny thing is that the parachute scene where Bond was falling off into that mountain using a Union Jack parachute, it's one of the most famous parts of the film. And Prince Charles said and applauded during the movie premiere of this film, and that's one of the best parts. It is just insane. And I really love the opening song by Carly Simon, Nobody Does It Better. Which that song would appear in the film with the late Brittany Murphy, and Carly Simon would appear in a film with her and with that song added. So yeah, and Spine, it's Roger Moore and Barbara Beck. Oh yeah, Barbara Beck, who plays Anna Amasova, I believe. She was married to Ringo Starr, one of the members of the Beatles. Interesting thing. It's a bit of a trivia here. And the Lowe's Esprit is just mind-blowingly amazing. And seeing that car transform into a submarine is one of the most best parts of the film, too. Yeah, anyway. So sorry. And there's the disc. Spine 11. That's the film. Right. Next up. Next up. And Bond number 11 is Moonraker. Moonraker. Sorry. This was Roger Moore's fourth Bond film, and this film came out in 1979, 2 years after Spy Remy. And I might be controversial here, but I actually like this film. It's actually, it's silly and ridiculous for some parts. As a Bond going to now originally the next film was going to be For Your Eyes Only, but because of Star Wars' biggest success, because of Star Wars becoming a massive success, they decided to go with Moonraker first. So that's what they've done. And Lois Childs is great as Holly Goodhead. And Hugo Drax, I mean, come on, Hugo Drax is amazing. No, sorry, Michael Lonsdale's incredible as Hugo Drax. I do like it. The end of the film goes, Spawn a Holly Goodhead? I beat you fair well. Sorry, I can't do a good Hugo Drax accent. However, there are some parts I would complain about. There's some bizarre use of humor. I mean, I don't mind humor in Roger Moore Bond films nowadays. But the chase with the gondola, not to be confused by miles ago, escape sites. The one that went through Venice was a little crazy, and and of course we all know everyone's least favorite part is the double taking pigeon. Yes, the double taking pigeon is one of the craziest parts. And then again, for the third and last time, Shirley Bassey sang the title song of the film again. And during the closing credits, there was a disco version played during the end credits of the film. And Moonraker might be a bit outlandish and silly at times, but it's still an enjoyable watch. There's the spine, and there's Bond in the spacesuit, the laser gun. There's Hugo Drax. And Richard Kiel came back for the second and last time because he was brought back due to popularity in Spy 11. Due to popularity in Spy 11, sorry. It's the disc, and it's Moonraker. Alright, and now we move on to the 1980s. Then we move on to the 80s with For Your Eyes Only, which is Roger Moore's fifth Bond film that came out in 1981 and marks the feature film and marks the debut of Bond director John Glenn, who previously worked on a few Bond films before directing. And this was the first not to have Bernard Lee as him because he sadly passed away before or after production of the film, or something like that. Now this is quite different than Roger Moore's other Bond films. And his Bond was pretty serious in the film, just like what Daniel Craig would do, which I'm gonna get to later because you're gonna hear me praise Daniel Craig a lot because he's my current favorite James Bond, which I'm gonna get to a little bit. So yeah, Blofeld came. Now, for the pre-credits, has a nice little callback to Bond's former wife, who was killed in Majesty's, which was a nice touch. And he was picked up by Blofeld. No. Blofeld with that white Persian cat in the wheelchair. He was known as Bald Guy at the time because of those legal rights going on at the time. But he was later called Blofeld when they got the rights to Spectre back in 2013. Sorry. So about the film is about Bond going up against a villain. They're trying to find an A-tag. Anyway, so Julian Glover being a bad guy and from good guy to bad guy is kind of silly. Cassandra Harris, who was Pierce Brosnan's wife, he would later become Bond in the 90s, which I'm going to get to later, was in that film. But sadly, she died in 1981 before Brosnan got the part of Bond. Cara Bouquet is pretty good as Melina Havelock. I think is her name. Yeah. and I really love the opening title song by Sheena Easton, who actually does appear in the opening credits for the film, which is pretty crazy. And she would also do All Nights Go to Heaven, to the Christmas special, and even of course the television show, which is to give a little trivia here. There's the spine, there's the back, and by the way, the score is done by Bill Conti, best known for composing Rocky and Leslie Nielsen, I believe. Leslie Nelson comedy Spy. Spy Hard. Sorry, I keep on doing it. And yeah, his score is decent. It's not quite as good as other Bond scores. Yeah, but it's not a bad score, don't get me wrong. Alright, so it's the disc, and it's for your eyes only. Next up. And then we go into Octopussy. This is Roger Moore's sixth outing as Bond. Sorry. Anyway, so originally, before this happened, before Octopussy happened, originally American actor James Brolin was going to play Bond in Octopussy, but that was until Kevin McClory had announced that he and Warner Bros. Would work together on working on a rival James Bond project that would come out the same year as this film. And who's the star of Bond? Well, I'll reveal it to you once I get to the next one. Anyway, this film marks the second film by Maud Adams, who previously appeared in The Man with the Golden Gun, as I mentioned. And the film also marks the debut of a new one, Robert Brown, who would continue to play him until License to Kill, which I'll get to that in a little bit because you're going to hear me a little bit mixed feelings about that film. The opening sequence for that jet is just amazing. I love that. I do like at the very end before the opening credits, Bond says, "Throw up, please." Sorry, I could do a good Roger Moore. I do like when the scene where Bond was trying to defuse Bond with that clown. I feel it might be a little bit silly, but it is just suspenseful. Yeah, and just crazy. And the climax is pretty good. Kind of suspenseful to watch. And excuse me. And the opening title on Rita Coolidge is pretty good. And I might be controversial, but it's actually one of my favorite songs. But not to for anyone who doesn't like that song, but it's still one of my favorites. But Spine, it's Roger Moore. Here's the cover, Octopussy. Give me a second. Now we're on to the last unofficial Bond film, which is the remake of a 1965 Bond film. So I'll reveal to you guys. So The film that came out the same year as Octopussy months later is Never Say Never Again. Yes, the unofficial remake of Thunderball. And now you guys may ask the curious question: who's the guy that starred Bond in this flick? Who? The original James Bond, Sean Connery. That's right, Sean Connery appeared in this film. Which, yeah, let me just say, yeah, Never Say Never Again was just lousy. I mean, look, Sean Connery is good as always, but okay, look, let me just get this right. It's the same as Thunderball. I mean, really. I mean, just why remake a Bond that was already made? I mean, really. And I do agree with Calvin Dyson and the Dutch Bond film. Some other people who were talking about this film in their reviews. So shout out to those guys. Kudos to them. And yeah, I gotta agree. Never Say Never Again is one of the weakest, if not the weakest, remakes and weakest unofficial Bond film ever made. The film was directed by Irving Kershner, who directed Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. And the film has Kim Basinger, or I don't know. And the title song by Lonnie Hall is just weak, and it's just not as good as other Bond songs. I mean, really. Oh my gosh, really. There's the Spine. And there's Sean Connery. He was 53. He was actually 52 when he did this film, when it was being made. And yeah, I didn't think this film was groundbreaking as other Bond film, Thunderball. It's cover, and there's a little pamphlet. Yeah, I managed to get the Blu Ray in years and years. Again, that's the cover. That's the disc, the film, and next, Never Say Never Again. And now we're on to next up is A View to a Kill. And this was Roger Moore's 7th and last James Bond film. And originally he was planning to leave after Moonraker, then 4 years old, then Octopussy. But then at 58 years old, Roger Moore decided to do one last Bond film before he would retire from the role. And yeah, so A View to a Kill is not bad. Not a little bad, but yeah, Roger Moore was, I'm not gonna lie, Roger Moore was really old in this movie. He was in his late 50s, but the signature mole, yeah, his lip was gone, which is kind of surprising. He had a little nip tuck before the film began production. Oh yeah, during filming, before production the film began, the 007 station was on fire, but not once, but now 3 times now, because it happened after, and it happened again after Casino Royale completed production. Now, recently, it happened during the filming of Bond. Now, don't worry, guys. The building was not destroyed. Some parts of it were destroyed, but they're going to rebuild it during filming. But once they finish building it, they'll finish the rest of the film. And Daniel Craig recently posted a picture of, and Greg Williams, the guy who would do those Bond set books, recently posted a picture of Daniel Craig and 007 Jim. Yes, I said 007 Jim. He's working out with a broken leg, and he's going to be coming back to filming this coming week, so very soon. So once again, Bond 25 does not have a title, but just to tell you this. Anyway, so View to a Kill is kind of a simple film, kind of an odd one. But one of the best parts is Christopher Walken and Grace Jones as Max Zorin and May, the most crazy and best memorable Bond villains ever in this film. And Stacy, played by Tanya Roberts from Charlie's Angels, she's just annoying. We got James! Oh my gosh. Yeah, but yeah, I just don't get it nowadays. Yeah. Anyway, I really love the opening song by Duran Duran, Nevertheless, and John Barry's score is pretty energetic too, and pretty electric too. And the climax of the Golden Gate Bridge is pretty unique, but kind of suspenseful. But having Roger Moore do that was just pretty awkward. But he's just too old for that part, so yeah. But you can see that. And that's all I gotta say too. The Spine. Back cover. Man, there's Roger Waters. Rest in peace to him. A salute to him. A salute to the greatest Bond ever. That's true. Alright, that's the cover. That's the disc. It's a beautiful kill. So now, let's upload that. Okay. So now we move on. Oh, hold on. There we go. So now we move on to the fourth James Bond actor, who originally was, you may have thought it was Pierce Brosnan. Well, no. Before Pierce Brosnan got to play Bond, no, he was going to play Bond in this film, but due to his Remington Steel contract being extended for another season, they kept him on. NBC decided to keep him on the show instead of getting him as Bond. So which actor did play Bond in the 15th Bond? Who? Timothy Dalton, the guy who star in The Living Daylights, and yes, that's the Bond film he did. So I will say, now, let me just say, The Living Daylights is a really... Not bad. Okay, so Living Daylights is a pretty entertaining film, but even though it's not one of my favorite Bond films, but the film is kind of gritty and harsh in some parts. Yeah. Just not to offend people who like Dalton as Bond, but it's just my honest opinion. Okay, there's the V8 Vantage, which, by the way, the car's actually going to be returning Bond 25, which is pretty crazy. So, this will be the second vintage Aston Martin to appear in a Bond film in the 21st century. So, it's a great thing to hear. So Dalton is okay in the film, but I mean, he was good in some parts, but he was kind of pretty serious, which I don't want to talk about. Anyway, Marion Dabo as Kara is kind of annoying at times. I mean, she's a great actress, don't get me wrong, but the opening theme on Aha is the greatest one, and it's a good title song. It's Spine. It's a bit of a shame that Pierce Brosnan never got to play Bond in this one, but if this film had Brosnan in it, this would have been my favorite Bond film. Oh well. So it's the cover, it's the disc. It's Living Daylight. Then we move on to the last Bond film in the 80s, and the last Bond for so many people, well, the crew for the Bond films, and the last for Timothy Dalton, which, to me, in my opinion, is my least favorite Bond. So I don't hate me for it. Don't hate me for this. Okay, I can see why many of you guys like it. So no offense to people who love this film, but it's just my honest opinion. So once again, don't hate me for this. So anyway, the film that came out in 1989 is License to Kill. Yes. Okay. Now originally the film was going to be called License to Revoke, but because of people not knowing what revoke meant, they decided to call it License to Kill instead. But this was the final Bond film for not only Dalton, but it last for Cubby Broccoli, Maurice Binder, John Glenn, Richard Maybaum, and Robert Brown, and Caroline Bliss. And I mean, there are some good parts in License to Kill, and I'm not gonna pick on this film. Now I used to hate this film a lot when I was watching my Bond films over and over again. But I actually am starting to enjoy this film quite a bit. But, okay, yeah, there are some good parts. The climax is really good, and the pre-credits of Bond going to make a Sanchez to go to the field is pretty spectacular. And by the way, Robert Davi is great as Frank Sanchez. And Benicio del Toro, who plays Dario, is very, very good. Carrie Lowell is great as Pam Bouvier. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Felix. David Henderson, who played Felix Leiter looking like Die, returns in this film, too. And yeah, I mean, but some parts of the film are quite gory and kind of cringy to look at. No offense. No offense to people who love this film. So, yeah. So, but the opening song last night is just, well, not one of my favorites, though. It's just my honest opinion. So don't hate me for this. Like I said, I still enjoyed the film, so don't worry. I'm not hating on it now. It's still a good film. Still a good film. Still a pretty good film. It's Spine. And by the way, this was the first Bond film to be PG-13, which today's Bond films do now. That's the cover, and that's the disc. It's nice as a kid. So now we move on to... Okay, so now we're in the 90s, and obviously the next Bond is everyone's favorite Bond, who was the long shot pick, is Pierce Brosnan. Yes, Pierce Brosnan. And he finally got to play Bond in GoldenEye. Excuse me, sorry. Anyway, yeah, and I love GoldenEye. It's one of the best Bond films that Pierce Brosnan did in. And many of you guys remember that video game, the GoldenEye N64 game, and let me tell you, that's the game that got me into James Bond when I was growing up as a kid, and my goodness, it was such a good game. And, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Now, Sean Bean was originally going to play Bond 2 in this film, but ultimately he played Bond's friend and enemy 006, aka Alex Trevelyan, and Sean Bean is just fantastic in that film as Alex Trevelyan. I like when they said, Bond's like, hey James, Franklin? And Bond was just like, Franklin, Alec, always Franklin. Sorry, I can't do a good Pierce Brosnan, oh yeah. Isabella Scorupco was great as Natalia, and Alan Cumming was great as Boris. He goes, I'm invincible! And he goes, I like it at the very end, but he goes like, yes, I'm invincible! But he was frozen at the very end. Okay, anyway. And excuse me. And Famke Janssen was great as Xenia Onatopp. And this film marks the debut of newcomers like Judi Dench, who would become M in 6 more Bond films, from this film to Skyfall, well, Spectre, of course. Desmond Llewellyn came back as Q, Samantha Bond became the new Miss Moneypenny, and Michael Kidger became the new Bill Tanner. And I really love the opening song by Tia Turner, and Daniel Kleinman's opening credits are amazing, which this film took place after the Cold War. Now, originally, I didn't mention that Timothy Dalton was originally set to do a 3rd Bond film in 1991 called The Property of the Raid, but this never happened due to MGM and United financial difficulties. This would result in one of the longest hiatuses of the Bond film ever. So Dalton stepped down the year Brosnan was hired to play Bond 2 months later. Oh, by the way, this marks 25 years as Pierce Brosnan was announced as the 5th James Bond. And I would have loved for Brosnan to do more Bond films after dying of age, which I'm going to get to later. So, GoldenEye, best Bond film ever, and even the best video game, too. Spine. Pierce Brosnan. It's GoldenEye. And next one is Tomorrow. Alright, Tomorrow Never Dies is the 18th James Bond film that came out in 1997, the same year as James Cameron's clearly acclaimed movie Titanic, which won an Oscar for Best Picture, which was presented by Sean Connery a year later. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, so this film, it's not bad. It's not good nor bad in some ways. I mean, the opening sequence is good. The fighter jets, firing out and all that stuff. And excuse me. Now, Elliot Carter, played by John DePrice, is kind of a little mixed, in my opinion. I mean, John DePrice is a good actor, but he would also appear in one of the G.I. Joe movies in 2013 or 2012. I don't know what year it came out. So, and Michelle Yeoh's great as Lynn? Agent Lynn, I couldn't remember what her name is. Okay, the car chase in the hotel parking lot is really great, and the title song with Sheryl Crow is not good and bad, too. It's kind of a little, not one of their songs. And yeah, and David Arnold's debut doing the score of this one, and we just really hope he will return for Bond 25. So, Tomorrow Never Dies is a pretty entertaining film. Spine, cover back. It's the disc. That's Tomorrow Never Dies. Sorry. Here we go. And then we're on to the last film of the 20th century for Bond, which came out in 1999, nearly 20 years ago. And that is Brosnan's third Bond film. Would it be his best Bond film? No, maybe or maybe not. And that is The World Is Not Enough. And let me just say, The World's Not Enough is not quite as good as GoldenEye, in my opinion. And to say the least, that people like it or people don't like it, but I mean, there are some good parts. The pre-credits is just mind-blowing. The boat chase is great, but the climax of it in Millennium Dome, which later became the O2 Arena, which about 10 years ago Michael Jackson was going to perform there, which is a treat to tell you. And the boat chase is wonderful too. And I mean, there are some good parts. A little nod to Bernard Lee, that picture frame in Scotland, and this was Desmond Llewellyn's final appearance as Q, which about a month after the film came out, he died from a car accident, which is really sad. And John Cleese took over in the next one, which I'll get to in a few minutes. So Renard's a good villain, a good henchman. Sophie Marceau's Electric King's great, and I do like when Bond was falling for her, becoming the first ever female to play a Bond film. And say we will about Denise Richards, Christmas Jones is just, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Denise Richards was terrible in that film as Christmas Jones. This would become the first Bond film to receive a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress for that film. Yeah, but so World's Not Enough is a decent Bond film. It's not as good as other ones, but The Title Song Guards is not bad. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still a good song. Not to pick any less song. I mean, and Garbage is a great band too. So it's a good film, but not. It's an okay movie though. World's Not Enough. Spine. It's the back cover. It's the disc. It's The World's Not Enough. Then we move on to the 21st century, the new decade for Bond. And this film marked 20 films and the 40th anniversary in 2002. And this film was, of course, Die Another Day. Yes, you heard me correctly. The 20th Bond film. Yeah, we all know that. Anyway. And this was Pierce Brosnan's last Bond film. Now, originally he was set to do his 5th Bond film, but unfortunately, the big shocking surprise that he was actually fired in 2004, which was a big shock to many of us Bond fans. And people were wondering who's going to replace him, who's going to be the new Bond. And yeah, I'm going to say, now this was my first Bond film as a kid when it came out in 2002 in the movie theater. And this one also got me into James Bond as well. And I do remember when I saw Star Wars Attack of the Clones, I saw the trailer and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so excited! And then when I saw the film, I was like, oh, this film is very good. But then when I saw more and more and more, the film got worse and worse and worse. Oh my gosh. It's not good. And yeah, Die Another Day was not a good Bond film, actually. Yeah, but the opening scene, the film was promising. The serving scene was very good, but I'm not gonna lie, but the CGI wind serving scene was ridiculous. And oh heck, the invisible car was ridiculous too, but the Asmar V12 Vanquish is good too, nevertheless. And Halle Berry, it's just, well, nothing in that film. And the film clearly had too much homages to the past 19 films at the time. So yeah, Die Another Day is disappointing and terrible. Okay, Spine. Yeah. Oh yeah, this was Miranda Frost's acting debut. movie. And this was John Cleese's first Bond film. And oh yeah, by the way, Madonna makes a cameo in this film too. And Madonna's title song was awful. I'm not gonna lie. The song was too much techno, and the song had too much beat and all, too much synthesizer stuff. And yeah, so there's the cover, and that's Dine of the Day. Yeah. So now we move on to my current favorite 007 right now. But don't worry, guys. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan are still one of my favorites. But now, in 2005, when this film was announced as the next Bond film, people were in shock. We were like, "This guy can't play Bond. He's too blonde. He's too old." All that kind of stuff. And people were boycotting this man. So which man did play James Bond in the 2006 reboot of Bond? The current James Bond, Daniel Craig. That's right. And Daniel Craig was criticized when he was announced as James Bond. But then came Casino Royale. And no, not the 1967 spook. The 2006 reboot of James Bond. And I'm not gonna lie, when this film came out, I wasn't even aware this film was actually a reboot. And no gun barrel was thrown. I was just like, where's the gun barrel logo? Many of us Bond fans were curious to know where the gun barrel was. And the gun barrel was not in the opening, but it was actually in the opening credits, which was really cool. And this film was a great start to a new Bond and a new generation of James Bond. And Eva Green is fantastic as Vesper Lynd. And for the first time in the film, no Q, no money paid, and well, no tenor, of course, I mentioned. But some people did take over for some weapon, because this was a back to basics kind of film, and a new, fresh take on Bond. No CGI, honestly. And Craig's Bond was dark and brutal. He just gets cut and bruised and all that kind of stuff. Oh my goodness. Now I'm not gonna lie, Daniel Craig is fantastic as James Bond, and I might be controversial, but he's one of my favorite James Bonds currently, and kind of the cold blue eyes. And the title sequence, by the way, is very, very different because it has no women, and it has Bond just fighting bad guys and cards. And the title song by Chris Cornell, who unfortunately died in 2017, did the title song. It's a really good song. It doesn't have Casino Royale in the lyrics, but the song describes about Bond's character, which I really like. It's a very good song. It's a spy. And there's Daniel Craig. And now, originally, Daniel Craig was signed to do 3 Bond films, which I'm going to get to a little bit later. And Mads Mikkelsen is great as the Chief. As the Chiefre, I think. And he's one of the best ones. So anyway, that's Casino Royale. There's the disc. There's the disc, and that's Casino Royale. Then, now comes 2008. The very first Bond sequel is, of course, Quantum of Solace. Now, this was the 22nd James Bond film that came out in 2008. And honestly, this was not a good James Bond film, which I agree with many people. Because here's reasons why Quantum of Solace was bad. Oh yeah, by the way, this was also the first Bond sequel to take place after Casino Royale. Excuse me. And yeah, okay. Now there's a bunch. Some action scenes are good. And the film was directed by Mark Forster, who you may remember as the guy who directed Christopher Robin, and even, of course, The Kite Runner. Yeah, this was Daniel Craig's second outing as James Bond. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Quantum of Solace was the worst Bond film I ever saw. Now, when this film came out in 2008, I was, after I saw it, I was like, oh, this film was very good. Well, I guess I had that the other day. But then I saw it more by, like, when I saw Calvin Dice's review, shout out to him again, and many people who hate this film, I agree with it now. It's official. Quantum of Solace was the weakest one. Many reasons why I don't like this film? Simple. The editing is terrible. The editing was terrible, and the ending was a mess. The script was a mess, and yes, there was a writer's strike before production of this film started, of course, and during production of the film, too. And the cast and crew were forced to write dialogue scenes themselves, of course, which is just so ridiculous. Oh my gosh, why did they do that? Now, in this film, originally this film was going to come out in May 2008, but they pushed it to November 2008. And this became the first Bond film to come out on Halloween 2008. And yes, the UK would actually get it earlier before all of us. In this, which I'm not going to tell you where, because that's classified information. So, in America. Okay. That would come out way before America would. Anyway, I mean, Craig is good as Bond in that film. However, Olga Kurylenko as Camille is not so good, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, look. Yeah, Camille, Olga Kurylenko is a great actress, but her as a Bond girl just doesn't feel right. The plot is pretty good. The plot doesn't make that much sense because it was supposed to be a sequel. A sequel! Gosh. Good. Okay, I'm kind of rambling a little bit about this film. So, Spine. Oh, and by the way, the title song was one of the worst songs I ever heard. Another Way to Die by Jack White and Alicia Keys was one of the weakest Bond songs ever. Anyways, that's the cover, and there's the disc. So that's Quantum of Solace. Then, sorry. Then we. Wait a second. Wait a second. Then we go to 2012, celebrating 50 years of James Bond with Skyfall. Yes, I'm not gonna lie, Skyfall. I love Skyfall. It's one of my favorite Bond movies. Now, there's a lot of good things about Skyfall. Many good things about Skyfall is the returning of Q and Moneypenny. The story is amazing, and John Logan and Neil Pearson did a great job in the script, and director Sam Mendes did a phenomenal job in this film. Oh my god. You can barely tell it. And some of you remember him who did American Beauty and many other great movies. And Thomas Newman did a magnificent job with the score of his film, and M's death was the most emotional moments in the film, and at the Skyfall house, or Skyfall Lodge. It's one of the best houses, and I suppose they're moving into a hotel for Bond fans. That would have been quite cool. Where they have a bunch of groundkeepers and have them shoot shotguns? Okay, it's good. And Daniel Craig is just phenomenal as Bond in that film. And now, if there's one good thing about Skyfall, it has to be the title song by the phenomenal Adele. And now, funny to say is that when Skyfall was being made, I was asking Mom saying, hey, do you know who would do the best Bond song ever? She was saying, hey, how about Adele? I was like, who's Adele? And she was like, well, she's a British singer. So I was like, well, let's see what she could do. And when I actually heard Sapphire Ring, one of her songs in the car, and I was just like, I nodded, yes, bring Adele in. And my mother and I were just waiting anxiously. My mother and I were waiting anxiously for months for Adele to do a Bond song. We were just like, please, Adele, do the song. And then when she got in, we were like, yeah, she's doing it. Great Bond film. Spine. Cover back. And yeah, to be fair, Skyfall is one of my favorite Bond films. To be fair, it's one of the greatest Bond films ever. So, and apologies for making this video a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so now we're on to the 24th Bond film, Spectre. And yeah, so Well, Spectre came out 3 years after Skyfall, and actually serves as maybe a sequel to Skyfall. And this film was once again directed by Sam Mendes, who previously directed Skyfall, some of the best Bond films ever. This was Daniel Craig's 4th outing as James Bond, and Spectre is an okay James Bond film. It's not as groundbreaking as Skyfall is, but Skyfall is superior. And by the way, I didn't mention Skyfall was the first Bond film. Now, Skyfall was the first Bond film to have an Oscar win for Best Title Song, which is crazy. I was happy that we were happy that Adele won the song of the year and she got the award. Okay, for Spectre, there are some good parts in the film, like you'll be seeing Mexico City. The gun brothers made a comeback at the opening. Yay! And the opening song by Sam Smith is, well, it's not bad nor good. Second Bond's going to get an Oscar. And Ray Fiennes is, I didn't mention it, Ray Fiennes is great as M in this film. And by the way, he would become the new M in Skyfall, just to tell you that. And I've seen this film 3 times in theaters, and like I said, it's not bad and good at the same time. But Christoph Waltz's Blofeld is just not as groundbreaking as other Bond actors would become. You know, I mean, look, Christoph Waltz is a great actor, so who's done many great films like. So yeah, the film's plot. Now, during filming of Spectre, there was a Sony hack that occurred. So the script had a bunch of rewrites. Yep, it's true. Now, Spectre's script is kind of meh, not too good. But the biggest surprise is that Jesper Christensen from Casino Royale, and Quantum of Solace made a comeback in the film, but unfortunately he gets killed. Now, originally he was going to be killed off in Quantum of Solace's deleted ending, but that never happened, so they kept him in this film until he killed himself. Now, Monica Bellucci, who's going to star Tomorrow Never Dies, was great in that film. Yeah, but it's now Spectre is a pretty decent Bond film, but still not as good as other Bond films. So, spine, just the back. Oh yeah, by the way, the title song by Sam Smith is not one of my favorites, but it's still a pretty good song. Now the title song, though, is not one of my favorites. It's the disc, and that's Spectre. And let's see. One second. Goes up. Alright, so now leave your comments down below of what your favorite Bond film is and let me know. Oh, hold on a second. So, anyway, leave your comments down below with who your favorite Bond actor is and who your favorite Bond star is. Now, before I go, there's only one more thing I got to show you. There we go. It's the Bones. And now, I know this is the 50 years of Bond one, or the Bond 50 cents, so for my version, this one's got the bonus disc, which contains the documentary, everything. Now, if you haven't seen that documentary, or if you have this one, do check it out. It is a very, very interesting documentary. Very good one. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, it's got some of the same stuff with Casino Royale and the documentary for Skyfall. And I mean, it's cool that the documentary Everything and Nothing is added on this one. The spine. Here's the Bond. Here's the frame. Here's the back. Okay. Oh yeah. By the way, hold on. This is the 2015 version, but it's not the 2012 version. I just made my own version, like I said. Like I said. So that's my Bond Blu Ray collection. I'll show you the DVD collection right now. So hold on. Okay. Now, I'm not going to analyze all the films that they already did. So, the shape, your 24 movies, there's Skyfall on DVD, there's Spectre on DVD. This is the, this is the 2-disc. I did my own version, 2-disc, and that's what I did. That's down there. Alright. So there you go. That's my James Bond Blu Ray DVD collection. And remember to subscribe and leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think of my Bond Blu Ray collection Fan Made version. And I'll be posting more Bond videos regularly on a daily basis. And some Bond film reviews in the future, and some Bond collections. And, oh, this is my Bond collection too, by the way. File. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. So I shall be back soon with more Bond reviews, and I will make sure you keep watching. And so until next time, Bond fans. So this is Awesome Fan. Over and out.